Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a 737 pilot and a member of PMDG's tech team. In this video we are going to fly the river visual for runway 19 at Washington National Airport. And this is what we are up to. We can see our approach starts at the waypoint Fergie, and that is recommended at 3,000 feet. And from there on we are going to follow the Potomac River all the way into Washington National Airport. We're currently holding at Naas, which is just a tiny bit to the north of Fergie, so we will start our approach from here as soon as we have completed our setup. One thing I did realize while preparing for this approach is that I don't find any way to bring this final approach on the chart up here in any line with the standard operating procedure that we are using in my airline. However, my airline is a European one, so we don't even fly there at all, otherwise we would probably have come up with some SOP for it. But since we don't have any SOPs for this approach ready, just take everything you're going to see in this video with a little grain of salt, but nonetheless we will do it as realistic as possible. The first thing we'll do is the FMC setup. And we'll go to the arrivals at DCA and we will select the runway 19 approach, and I'll take a 1 mile runway centerline extension so that we get a waypoint somewhere over here in order to get a little bit of VNAV guidance. The approach is meant to be flown as a complete visual, which we are going to do, but nonetheless it is a good idea to program the FMS to have at least something available to you. So we're going to execute this one and then do a quick cleanup of the route. We'll take the RX waypoint and put that right behind Fergie, like this. Next up, we do have those altitude recommendations there over Chain Bridge, being the Georgetown Reservoir, and over the Key Bridge, and they are marked with a little bit of a mileage there as well. So in order to get those on the flight plan, we'll put Washington VOR in the fix page and draw a couple of rings around it. Let's take a 6 mile ring, a 4 mile ring, and a 3 mile ring. Pretty much like this. And now we can simply copy those radials and put them beyond Fergie. And then we'll get those waypoints right in the middle of the approach path. So that's our 6 mile point. This is our 4 mile point. And finally we take our 3 mile point. Now quickly put in all the restrictions. So let's take a maximum of 180 knots at Fergie, and we want to be there at 3,000 feet. Then we have the 8 mile point at 1800. We have the 4 mile point at 1500. And finally the 3 mile point at 900. The speeds are fine in here. That is pretty much our flap 40 reference speed plus 5, so I'm happy to keep those. And that's pretty much the kind of setup that we need to do up here. Runway is rather short, so auto brakes 3 is something we are going to use. And that pretty much completes our setup. So if we have a quick look into our navigation display, then this is what we have by now. So we have a 6 mile, 4 mile, 3 mile point, and all of those have their associated altitude restrictions in here. And that is, while not representing the route correctly, it is nonetheless giving us a little bit of a VNAV guidance at least, so that we do have some sort of automation available for us on the approach, at least for the vertical path management. Since this is a visual approach, we also have to set our minimums, which is going to be airfield elevation plus 500. And here's a little bit of a thing. In real life, my airline would require us to be stabilized on the approach long before we are actually going to make the final turn onto the airport. So that is something that we will not be able to do here in the simulator, because this approach is just outside of the boundaries of how my airline would fly a visual. So we are going to disregard that stable gate However, what we are going to do is to take into account that we have to have our airplane configured latest by 500 feet, and in fact, due to the high anticipated workload, I will configure the airplane much earlier. That is pretty much our approach setup completed, so let's go ahead and leave this holding, and then we are going to start to commence our approach. So, direct to Fergie, execute. You can see the early decel point we have up here, which we are almost reaching by now, and that is of course due to the 180 knot restriction at Fergie. But that's based off the 240 knot speed that we currently have in the FMS, so... As I said earlier, we are flying this approach a little bit outside of the usual SOP that we would be following in my airline. Therefore, let's not take these things too seriously, and let's take them with a little bit of a grain of salt there. So we can see the river coming up just over there, right to left, and somewhere back there must be our airport. Building looks a bit like a plane up there. Wings, engines, fuselage, elevator. Okay, we'll start configuring. Flaps 1. I will go ahead and do a little bit of the pilot monitoring work by now, because things will get rather busy in a moment. And what we have there, master caution. Oh yeah, we can remove that off scheduled descent here. That's better. And flaps 5. Okay, we're about to overfly Fergie. Disconnecting the autopilot. Recycle flight directives. And we'll start our descent here. So the way we set this up, we do have VNAV deviation information available on the navigation display, so that we can use this to actually guide us down on this approach, while at the same time looking out and visually following the Potomac River. We just have to be aware this is not going to be a constant 3-degree glide on the approach due to the different altitude recommendations. But that should not be too much of an issue for us. So first will be 1800 feet overhead chain bridge. Can we see that somewhere down there in front? Yeah, there it is, chain bridge. Supposed to have 1800 over there. And let's go gear down, flaps 15. Configuring the plane a little bit earlier to reduce our workload in the final stages of the approach. And then recommended 1500 next to Georgetown Reservoir, which we can see coming up on the left hand side there. Flaps 25. And flaps 40. Little ballooning effect there as the flaps actually come down into the 40 position. So Georgetown Reservoir on our left hand side, recommended 1500, and we have approximately that. Let's get the plane descending again. Next up, Key Bridge, recommended 900 feet. And that is coming up just on our left hand side there. Checked. And here we are. Overhead Key Bridge, starting the right hand turn. Altitude approximately 900 feet. And we can see the 3-degree line on the head-up display intersects pretty well with our runway over there. We see the poppies slowly coming inside. Checked.
Minimums.
Continue. Okay, we're on the poppies. Turning final. The 3-degree line is perfectly on the aiming point, so we are right on path. Very good. And here we are.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Okay. Speed brake up, thruster is normal. 80%, 100 knots. Manual braking. Auto brakes disarm, 60 knots. And that is it. The river visual approach for runway 19 at Washington National Airport. I would like to thank you very much for watching, everyone. Hope that you have enjoyed this approach. And do let me know in the comments how you like the rather unconventional approach I took with creating a little bit of a VNAV guidance here for this one. For now, this is going to be it. Like, comment and subscribe, and if you do want to support the channel, you can do so through the Buy Me Coffee link that you can find in the video description below. Until then, thank you very much for your attention, and I am very much looking forward to see you all again on the next one.